you guys have not seen each other for a while, so I'll paint the scene from Atham's perspective for a little bit. Atham got a note from a courier saying that he wanted to meet somebody wanted to meet him in the anthropology university, or school of the university. Oh, look, it's a trio now.
Oh, hello.
Hi, Max. He muted himself. He doesn't want to talk to us.
Yeah, I'm here to listen and nothing else.
Well, sorry, got a little distracted there for a second. So you have been called to the anthropology school of the New Hampshire University. You are taking one of the scroll trolleys, or maybe a carriage or something, or just simply walking to the other side of town. It is now pretty late night, considering you guys rode half a day from morning to dusk from the outskirts to the city. And you enter, and it is one of the beautiful, beautiful halls of New Hampshire's universities. That New Hampshire is a very, practicality over form and beauty, and so it's a little bit of an ugly city at times, but they do really respect their history when it comes to the founding 13 alchemists. And some of the older buildings in reference to the university specifically are very well cared for. And so this is an example of like an archaeological leftover. There's big windows with the iron wrought paneling in between. They've got high ceilings with pointed, I guess, what would you call them? Pinnacles or tops? Not very good on my archaeological terms. What am I saying? Archaeology. Architectural terms, sorry. There's books and books and books as far as the eye can see. There's some spirits leading people around to find their specific volume that they're looking for their research. It's filled with students of all ages, from almost prepubescent looking to the oldest of professors, with lights that are very good at just being right on the page and book of one particular student who are burning the midnight oil so they are not disturbing anyone else. And you pass many alcoves dedicated for study and rest. Some are taking a break. A lot of them are in the traditional robes of the graduate students of New Hampshire's University. And you, I guess, get closer and you sense a familiar presence. Jens, why don't you describe what you look like before Atham is able to kind of make your acquaintance there? What do you think Jens is doing in the library? What does it look like?
Well, Jens naturally is reading in the library, so he's sat down at a desk and he's doing some studying. And he's not in his traveling gear this time. He's now in his a bit more of an academic. It's a bit of a nicer some nicer robes. Not overly interesting robes, mind you, but a couple of highlights here and there, sort of to denote their slightly finer craftsmanship. And you can tell he doesn't wear these very often. Because they are very well kept. But yeah, that's what he's doing right now.
Oh, and before Atham makes contact, could you describe Jens in general to our first-time listeners, considering that this is going to be his first appearance on recorded media?
Yes, well, Jens is a very tall man. He's about 7'5". He's very Scandinavian in character. Got the blonde hair and the blue eye. He also has a black eye. He has two different colored eyes because that's quirky. Generally pretty fit as well. He's got a quite a long head of hair and a thick beard as well. Very much sort of Viking-esque, if you will. He's also viciously scarred on the right side of his face. That's sort of this is where the physical stuff. I'm very glad I had that written down.
Wonderful. And Atham, I'll let you take it away then.
All right. Well, as I'll approach. Good morning, I suppose, Mr. Yvarson.
Oh, it's Atham. Ah, my friend, it's good to see you again. Welcome. Sit. Come. We have much to speak about. I have been. We have much has happened since we've last spoken.
Well, that's probably good news. All right. I'll take a seat.
Tell me,
Pull up a chair.
Did you find this? Did you find this all? Did you find me all right?
Yes. No. I'm familiar with the institution. I've been here a few times before.
Well, listen. After we parted ways last, I departed to do some research to find information on what we discovered on the background of the world. I found, much to my disappointment, that the university's libraries were sorely lacking. However, I was able to learn of a series of ruins in the Torngat Mountains, in particular one called Old Agassiz, that had a manuscript or two that had some startling information. What I was able to glean is that long ago there was a conflict. I don't know very much of what it happens, but what I have been able to find is it's called the First War of the Abyss, and shortly after that conflict, there was an event, a binding, perhaps some sort of non-aggression treaty or pact or event between the forces of order and chaos, and it essentially bound them in balance for ever since. And I haven't been able to find very much sources on this, but the ones I have are I've checked their validity, and they are without question, and they are ancient.
Indeed, that's almost 5,000 years ago.
Yes, you have a good eye for dates.
I've heard of the War of the Abyss a little bit, although much knowledge of the world is scoured of it. You said you found this in the mountains?
Yes, in mountains far away from here, the Torngat Mountains, in an old set of ruins called Old Agassiz. But I'm not. Again, it was quite a task finding them. I don't mean to pat myself on the back or anything, but it was a bit of an archaeological achievement. I mean, I discovered a whole set of ruins, ancient ruins, that haven't been, well, at least
It's
on
the
initial
archaeological
investigation.
find of the millennia, if you've got concrete information on the First War of the Abyss. Is that all you found?
Well, there was much to be studied there, but I was only able to bring back a few manuscripts. There's some details that I wasn't able to fully glean information from some, well, shall we say, artifacts in less than ideal condition. Now, that said, there is information that I was able to glean on the source of the site. For example, there are seals that help to keep this order bound, and any instability in the pack would likely manifest near those seals. And I also learned of a potential, well, some sort of entity that is designed to maintain the balance of power between these two. It's all very fascinating, but very mysterious as well.
You know, tell all of this entity that you know.
Well, that's just it. I don't know much more than that. I found one very, very poorly conditioned, some ledger or some pact. I couldn't tell what it was, but it spoke of a being of that works from the shadows beyond the eyes of man to maintain the balance between order and chaos. But wait,
Yeah.
There
Oh.
was more piece of information that I had discovered as well. There seems to be some sort of third thing, something that is outside of the bounds of order or chaos. I found in what appeared to be some sort of old temple, a tablet, a stone tablet, with a series of illustrations that seemed to evidence as such. But throughout all my research, I was able to clearly identify order and chaos, but not this other entity, but something that is outside of the spectrum of order and chaos. I've never heard of such a thing before, or such a.
Inscriptions.
Oh.
Might I see them?
Unfortunately, not. They were large and built into the temple themselves, far away.
You didn't take sketches.
I have some. Yes, here. Take a look at the sketches.
Ah, perfect.
Yes.
What am I looking at here, Professor?
It's you're looking at some circles and an eye for the third thing. This is the eye here. You can see these two circles clearly represent order and chaos, which I was able to glean from many other etchings on the walls of the temple, and there's some spirals in the middle as well. As for the eye, I'm not sure what it is. The eyes, I don't. That's it. I wasn't able to find other reference to it other than the fact that it is some sort of other entity.
Right. Okay. Other entity. Well, have you ever did any? So this is the only mention of this third force in the findings, I'm assuming.
Yes, the only one that I was able to find on this expedition. It's fascinating, but I am convinced. I've seen similar, very similar symbolism in other religious carvings and demonstrations, and I am quite certain that this is a third entity, something that isn't order and chaos. I am certain that this is what it represents. I'm just not sure what it is.
Indeed. Fascinating. Right. Okay, this is not to diminish, but this is all?
I'm afraid so, but it's significant because
Extremely significant.
it has consequences for the very foundational fabrics of our modern world.
Yeah, so I'm interested in this Guardian of the Balance entity. Where was that mentioned?
That was mentioned in a less than ideal condition religious text of some sort. It mentioned that to ward off the forces that would seek to unbalance the delicate order order between order and chaos that had been established. It would work from the shadows, maintaining an air of secrecy. But that's all I could tell. I noticed that it very much has some similarities to creation myths that I've researched in Rhodia, but that's more conjecture on my part.
Well, if we've got nothing else to go on, let's go with conjecture. What's your theory?
Well, that's just it. It's just similar.
What is the
Well, there are some in some Rhodian mythological cultures. They have similar beliefs where an entity works from the shadows to maintain a delicate balance between order and chaos. Many often work it into religious ceremonies for raising their young and criminal justice, whatever it might be. But it's not necessarily widespread, but it's prevalent in many communities.
Let's see.
A recurring theme, if you will.
Indeed. Here's a slight thought. Are you familiar at all with the binding ceremonies that have been occurring recently?
Yes, they're quite significant, are they not?
Yes. Are there any connections you might be able to draw between? There is a. I know the seals sort of originate from around the same time as the First War of the Abyss. Are there any direct connections you can establish with what you found?
Well, in fact, yes. I believe that these seals are somehow related to this pact. Uh, I
Yes.
I'm not quite sure how it works, but I believe that if ever they were to be, if the balance between order and chaos were to ever be threatened, it would first be felt at these seals. That is
Hmm,
my suspicion.
I see. Huh. All right then. That makes. Okay. Well, that is starting to make a little bit of sense there. Then. Um. Okay. So three forces, then this other entity. Well, four sides really. There's the two chaos order, the one outside, and the one maintaining balance. Have I got that right?
Yes. We don't know what the one outside is. That's
That's the one represented by the eye, right?
yes.
Okay. Was there any symbol representing the one maintaining balance?
No, I only found reference to this one in text, not in the same temple
Hmm.
where I found the eyes.
Right. Um, the temple. Was the so? Oh, okay. So what did you date the temple to?
The
Was it
temple?
same time as the one you found the text in?
Well, yes, this was all in the same place.
Oh, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yes,
All right. Sorry, I misunderstood.
old Agassiz was, I believe, some sort of fortress city, but again, I haven't had the chance to do a proper archaeological investigation yet, so I can't make such a conclusion. However, that said, many people did reside there once upon a time, and it is very, very, very old. Older than
Right.
anything I've ever seen.
Hmm. Right. Okay. Well, what is your next step then?
Well, unclear from at the moment. I have returned here to do some research on the Torngat Mountains, the area where the old Agassiz was found, but I have yet to yield concrete results. I suspect I will want to return there at some point, but if I can discover another lead, then I'd like to continue through that. What are your plans?
Well, I need more information, to be honest. The binding ceremonies are becoming threatened, and if there's any way to find out more about them, uh, specifically what exactly this balance is, or what the deal struck was,
Maybe some
that'll be
research on the binding ceremonies is a good place to start. I can take a look at that and
that
see what
would
I find.
be that would be excellent. Are there any resources you need?
Oh no, I'm already in my element here. I can no I have a whole army of unpaid interns that are ready
Good.
to go. I mean research assistants.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Excellent.
The one thing about being a distinguished professor is you can you know manpower is not much of an issue.
Man, graduate students are the best.
No, they really are, aren't they? Um, by the way, I
Hmm.
I have a question. Your
Hmm.
friend Zin, can you
Ah,
tell me about her at all?
yeah.
Or any details, perhaps, about him? I
Zin. Well, okay. I
I just
analytically, Zin is a Samar of the Church of Purity.
Aha.
which is to say well, how much do you know about the Church of Purity? That'll be a good framing device for me to explain this.
Well, I'm familiar enough, but because they're well. Why don't you just tell me what you know?
Well,
You
really,
can
there's
do the
not
spark
that.
note.
The Spark Notes are pretty much just that. Zin is a recently rising Aasimar within the church. They're very few in number, from what I'm led to believe. One for each of their archangel patrons.
Have you ever noticed another entity around him?
Oh, okay. If you're already partially aware, then yes, there is another entity residing within Zin's psyche or adjacent to it.
Ah, well, I did come across some texts in the same description of the war of the first war of the abyss. I came across some descriptions of some of the conflicts and some of the, well, shall we say, possessions that were involved in that conflict. And
Yes.
I don't wish to jump to conclusions, but I fear that the Church of Purity isn't is using order demons of order, to augment their priesthood. I
You
I
don't
I've
say.
I have heard of similar rumors to your friend Zin, and now having read about some, well, some of the most ancient of magics on this world, it sounds almost eerily identical to some of the descriptions that I read in this source.
Well,
I can't
the
say for
church,
but
the Church of Purity is rumored to rise from the First War of the Abyss, either during or after. So that's not too surprising that details discovered would be linked to it. As for the demons of order, yeah, that's. I think you're more than a little justified in your worries there.
that could have some serious ramifications.
Hmm.
I can't certain, but that seems like the sort of thing that could very much upset the delicate balance between order and chaos.
Indeed. So you think Order is sort of cheating on the treaty?
That is, well, I fear that I fear that, yes, though I hope not, because
Hmm.
I can only deign to imagine what kind of consequences that would be for the whole of the world.
I see. Um, this is we probably should have I should have asked before we started discussing this, but this is a private area, right? There's no one can listen in.
Oh yeah, don't worry. I had this section cleared out ages ago.
Okay. All right.
I like to work.
I had
with
assumed, but didn't. Yeah, I assumed, but didn't want to assume.
and for what it's worth, no one has been told about my research.
I would here. I'm
I
gonna
think
pull
it's
out a sketch pad and start writing down a few names. If you ever need to, I know a few other researchers in the field that know how to keep out of the church's crosshairs. So if you ever need to need to check your information with anything,
oh,
hit them up with a sending stone.
that's really convenient.
I've had my
Wow, I
talons
didn't
in
realize you were
the
so so well connected academically. That's pretty impressive.
pretty
Huh?
much all of my connections are academic, honestly.
These are some very impressive names. Wow.
Yes. We'll fill editor will fill them in or something. um. So, I this is probably not something you want to publish in the university journal, if at all.
Yeah. Yes,
But I
quite
would
aware.
heartily encourage you to continue your research.
Oh, I intend to. I don't intend on sharing it anytime soon.
Indeed. You're also well, actually, do you know how to put this? What do you know about empty era relics? Your speciality seems to be more cultural, but
Yes, I'm not familiar with relics, but I could give it a few days, do some research, and if you need.
yes. So Athem's gonna look around a bit again just to make sure no one is there at all. Okay. So I have been well. Okay. The demons of order in the Church of Purity is going to be added to a long list of things I've been worried about. Not to mention the uh, well, have you heard about the town just a few miles away?
No.
There was a minor necromantic outbreak, and the church decided to purge the entire population. Fortunately, they came to a compromise, but a significant amount of the population was butchered before cooler heads could prevail.
My goodness. That's quite concerning.
Indeed. I am not to say this is, well, you must know some of history. This isn't exactly a unknown incident in church history. And if demons of order are not only in the Asimar branch of the church, but in the priesthood as well, a descent to more radical behavior might be approaching.
I suspect so. I can only imagine if such an event is able to manifest itself. Well, it's only a matter of time before.
Yeah.
Well, I think we all know how your friend Zin can get.
Yes. Messages. So, with all that said, I'm currently looking for, and this is ironic language, but a counterbalance to current events. You remember the dig site we met at?
Yes,
There's
that was a fun time.
There's a new construction going on there. We're building a fortress.
Oh, cool. Well, why?
Well, it intends to be, those catacombs were my home at one point.
Oh, what?
Yes,
Huh.
I lived through the First Abyss War.
What?
I
What?
don't remember it. Yeah.
All right. How did you figure that out?
How did I figure what
How did
out?
you figure that? Wait, you don't remember living through the First Abyss War?
The entities described by that eye, which I'm think I sort of know who they are, if not what they are, possess mimetic powers and wiped my memory of select areas of history. I'm working to get some of those memories back, but in the interim, the first two Abyss Wars, I have no knowledge of what exactly transpired. I know what happened before and what happened afterward, more or less. But
My
and
goodness.
if call it paranoia, but I think there's a reason for that. So something happened during those that can help us all out.
Evidently, I think understanding more what happened in the Abyss War can. Well, that's the key, isn't it?
I think so.
Understanding how it ended.
Especially if the Church of Purity is involved, understanding the Church of Purity's origin might also be useful.
Critical, I would say.
Indeed.
Perhaps we could interrogate your friend?
Interrogation is not likely to end well if there is a demon of order.
I suppose that's a good point. I perhaps meant more in a tactful sense, but yes.
His mind is also shielded from direct intrusion. Now, so we need to know more about the Wars of the Abyss. We also, the existence of this balance entity is also disturbing, because if our intuition is right and the church is cheating on the treaty, this balance entity might come out and start throwing hands. And since the church has pretty much permeated society, that's a lot of people in the crossfire.
Yes, you raise a very good point.
So we need to find out what that entity is.
Yes.
And yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if we can identify that, then we will have, well, hopefully answers.
That's the plan. So the fortress I mentioned, if you can, I want to centralize our. You can use that to store your research there. It won't be safe really anywhere else, I would imagine.
I'll take a free research facility.
And I'm sure you can. It's a new construction. Feel free to choose the best room for yourself for any work study.
Well, this is a very generous offer. I'll take you up on it.
Oh, good.
Very well. Then I'll commence making arrangements to have my equipment transferred over to you.
Please do. There's also, from my sort of limited understanding of the seals, they're also used to stabilize reality to some extent. If the pact breaks, we need something else to replace that.
Yes.
I am on the lookout for something like that, but currently my best bet, I think, is some kind of empty air artifact. I saw reality anchors in the Underdark, for example. If I know this isn't your area of expertise, maybe hand this off to a colleague, or if you can do a little bit of research on the side.
I consider my area of expertise to be flexible.
Excellent. Then I would less priority, but a priority nonetheless. We need a backup plan.
Very well, I can do this.
Perfect. Well, I've asked you to do a lot of things. Is there anything I can do for you?
Well, I suppose. Well, you've already helped me with a lot of information and certainly leads, but I suppose not. I'm. Yes.
You want me to fill out your history notes a little bit?
Well, actually, I suppose if your memory is coming back, maybe we could. I could give you. Well, listen, I do have other things to do, so maybe I could leave you with some notebooks of mine, and you can just fill them out, over time, and
Sure.
And then give them back to me, whenever you're back at your fortress, or you can drop them there or whatever. You see, I would interview you for hours, but I actually do have to prep for the Flower Isle Summit. I am representing my tribes there in the future, so that is
Yes.
something of importance to me as well. However, that said, I will still prioritize the research on the Abyss War and whatnot, and all the relating things, because that is clearly important.
Indeed. Well, thank you a lot then, Mr. Yvarson.
It's Professor. Thank you.
Professor, sorry, yes, of course. Absolutely, okay.
Yes. Well, yes. Thank you, Atham. This is always a great pleasure. I will let
I'm a
you know
doctorate
as
too, you know.
you are.
I have a few, actually.
Oh well, Professor Atham. Well,
Thank
I'll let you know as soon as my research yields results.
All right, doctor.
Doctor.
All right, sweet.
Right.
All right, is that feeling wrapped up for you guys?
I think I got everything I had.
All right, good.
I missed everything.
It's recorded. You'll be fine.
You'll be fine. Yeah, and I mean, it works better that way. I'm hoping that we'll get to next session before you can hear this session, because I think it'd be funny. But
I should wait.
well, I don't know. I mean, you're blazing through them so fast, but I didn't know if you were going to get to it or not. You still got like what, 2 or 3 left before this one? Two. Oh God, he's a maniac.
He's catching up.
He's catching up.
But is he actually? Are you actually editing parts out?
A little bit. I edited out like weird like artifacts and stuff.
There's really not much to edit out. It's
Yeah,
mostly
Yeah.
Like
I mean, if you want to clean it up, but like,
yeah,
I was just confused because I was just wondering if like he's just like, beep, boop, boop.
I mean,
Just,
you
like,
should generally
going
just
in, like
need to,
cutting
like,
out the weird pauses. I don't know. I'm not judging. I'm just wondering how he's doing it so fast.
yeah. I mean, I imagine that you just pretty much
more or less.
cut a little off the
I
front.
cut
and
out.
get back.
I listened through them and cut out stuff that like sounds awkward.
Mhm.
Cool.
So it basically takes me as long as it like runs to do it.
Yeah, and then you'll edit in memes and commentary.
Pretty much as I go. Yeah.
So I mean, that shouldn't be too hard or anything like that. So I imagine, and it's not like we need to do too much more. Some people, if like we got like a professional like editor, might do a little more than that. But that's the nice thing about podcasts and like D&D shows, right? Is that you really don't need to do too much. Although I guess some of them do edit down on all the waiting
Well, I
for
haven't done
people
music.
dice.
That is a little beyond my power. I don't really know.
That's
how to
fine. I don't
music.
think we need music. I tried it earlier, but it didn't really work well with the bot and stuff like that. So it's okay. Anyway, I would say we're not necessarily done here, but I do want to say fantastic job, Atham and Yens. I think the lore is getting to you guys now. It started to really take off in the middle there. It was nice hearing you guys discuss implications without any prompting and whatnot. So I was happy about that. I was very proud of you guys.
Well, thank you. I think we did a good job. I think. Methinks.
Thanks. So that's good. We would want Jens back on next week. I'm going to do a scene now with Zin for anybody who wants to listen. But I just want to let you know if anybody had to go get dinner or something like that, you are free from your earthly obligations.
I will listen in.
All right. So Zin, you do the anime thing where you sneeze a little bit when somebody's talking about you or whatever, your ears start burning.
Yeah, that's my sneeze.
And you and Lear are in the main cathedral on God, what did I think I said Alexandria Square was the name of the main square in New Xanter. And you head into the cathedral. The old sister there invites you back to see High Patriarch Hypatius, who is the High Patriarch of the branch in Tempelon. Kind of got their own sort of deal dating back to when the church helped Tempelon in the Plague Wars, which was very much appreciated, but New Xanter or such Tempelon is not a hugely religious society, so they kind of have like this weird thing where the Tempelonians don't really like them that much. But they've over the years they've grown on them a little bit, and in a way it's also benefited the branch / Tempelon because they've encouraged there to be more autonomy within this branch compared to the main church, which has much more direct control over other countries' branches. So it's kind of created a unique situation. I was talking earlier, I wanted to ask you again, so you're kind of on your way, you're walking back, you're being led by the sister, you're with Lear, you're together. This is probably one of the few people who might outrank you both in rank and in terms of church power, kind of. It's very weird at the high symbolic level.
Is it like, maybe, do they outrank? I mean, I guess in this area, like, the people probably like them more.
Well, no, it's more of like we're talking about with like Torin and Iman and stuff like that, where there's ranks within your order, and all orders are technically supposed to report to the patriarch. So in terms of the system, you are pretty low ranked, but I mean, out of the system, you are an angel of the religion, so that kind of puts you above everybody else.
Kind of puts me above everyone else. But yeah, I know what you mean. Like, the order here is a little weird, but also like,
yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff, and I mean, when you get into symbolism and religious importance, like what is more important? Like, is the true cross more important than the spear of whatever his name was, or like when you start to get into that kind of stuff, it's kind of weird to figure out what is more powerful, quote unquote, or what has more meaning.
Is me? I'm but yeah.
Okay, well then I guess thanks that, but
I know.
So what do you think Zin's feeling, considering that this is a rare occurrence to meet with somebody who has a decent chance, at least, of being more authoritative than he is?
I don't think Zin's actually worried about that, because in a sense where he's more going in, like I said last time, worried, thinking about what happened with Luce. He almost feels slightly like he's more like not trusting in that sort of way. Like, he doesn't fully trust this guy. He knows he should, but these guys who were these high position stuff like Luce were turned out to be absolutely horrible, and he can't really trust, like, he don't trust like that. Like, the people, like, to him, it's him and the rest of the Asimars who are always like right. Those are the only individuals that he can, and maybe like Torin and people and Cyril who like he's kind of like gotten close to, but like within the rankings, to him the highest authority is always going to be the angel or the Asimars. So he's a little bit like not scared in the sense where this guy might be of higher authority, but especially because he has Lear there too, because he's like, oh, big brother, like his, like the person he like kind of partly looked up to as a kid is right there.
Big brother Lear.
Big brother Lear is there, and he, I don't know. He's just kind of like he's going in there more just wary of the guy, Hypatius, than nervous,
Gotcha. So with that, you're going to be led down a nice marble hallway with pictures or not pictures, sorry, paintings, glorious paintings on either side of religious scenes. There's Aloric smiting demons with his silver cage and his axe. There's Knife Cat smiting other demons with knives, and gifting a coconut to a poor weary traveler. Um, as the good Calico fable tells you. And there's armor from different eras of the church in Tempelon, all the way dating back to the Plague Wars. With that said, you get to a large door that has been carved very nicely with a crystal doorknob, and the sister opens it and beckons you in, bows her head, and walks back down and closes the door. On the inside, you see a older but still sturdy looking man, somebody who is stout, graying hair that is now more of white and silver, curly but kind of pushed back, with a powerful, fierce face, with his hands behind his back as he turns around and looks at both of you. He bows deeply, still with his hands behind his back, and motions to two chairs as he says, "Hello, holy ones. Welcome. I know that you have had a rough journey and have had a dangerous mission. Please sit. We have much to discuss."
I'm guessing Zin like politely bows his head a bit. It's like that, like a nod of like approval. And then goes to sit. Like he goes to sit down.
Yeah, Lear doesn't really do much in the way. He just kind of sits down without saying anything.
If Zin notices that, he's going to like stiffen up a bit. He's gonna be like, "Oh shit."
As he sits down, Hypatius also sits in a nice, ornate, carved wooden chair with some nice plush backing and cushioning on the bottom. He says, "Well, I know your time is valuable. Please give me a report from your missions, and I shall tell you anything that I have to mention about our mission here."
Shit. Okay.
If you want to take a second, Lear's going to look kind of directly into Hypatius' eyes and say, "I tracked down as much as I could the assassins sent after me, and those who murdered several of the other church high clergy in Tempelon, but unfortunately, we discovered it was deeper than we thought. There was filthy mutants in the sewers. We were taken to the Underdark as well by some freak accident. Or, well, I had to chase them down there. My fellow Asmar here was taken down there apparently by freak accident. I engaged with a member of the Black Hand, and we discovered some kind of citadel that seems to house many different anti-psychic and religious agents in it, as well as some," and he clears his throat, he leans forward, "super soldier projects. They look to be class 1s at least."
Zin's gonna go. And there was a talking mushroom. That was weird.
Hypatius is going to clear his throat a little bit as well. "Talking mushroom, you say? Well, sounds like a very dangerous mission," he says, as he gives a little chuckle, as trying to lighten the mood. Lear does not look amused at one bit.
Zin doesn't know. He was not trying to be. He just like. He doesn't know why Lear looks so unamused. Because Zin didn't explain Marcello well by just saying there was a talking mushroom. Because, Marcello is an eldritch horror. Like a being that is like ungodly in all sort of manners. And so Zin's confused why they're so like, oh, okay.
Now, Hypatius is going to... Now, in all seriousness, we appreciate what you've done. At the very least, you've driven back the forces that were trying to attack you and have been harrying our services in the city for many months now. There have been less and less reports since you both have been on your mission. So myself and my flock thank you, as he bows his head a little bit. You can hear the different trinkets on him jingle as he does. And he straightens up, and Lear says, enough with the thanks. Either do you have something important for us, or is there a reason you've kept two Azamars busy when we could be returning to the main island?
So true. Zin nods. He's like, yeah.
It's like, yeah, you tell him. You tell him.
Tell him. That's kind of how I feel like Zin is in the situation for a little bit, at least.
Hypatius is going to say, yes, well, I believe that there are two things we need to discuss quickly. One is that I believe a cardinal, high cleric of the Clear Water was called away and used one of our teleportation scrolls in order to deal with some sort of diplomatic situation. So, Lear starts to look a little bit more intently.
Zin's gonna kind of like grimace a bit. He wants to he want to go like you know, but like he's trying to keep his order. He's a little bit annoyed with that. I don't know. Thinking back, he goes.
Hypatius is going to say, I understand that this seems to be a sticky situation. For the most part, I need to know if this is going to continue to be difficult, or if it's something that I should consider done and put to bed. Because if we start to get involved with the clerical orders, and there's a dispute between them and the Azamar, and then also the sovereignty of Tempelon's ally Oros is brought into it, it will be a very sticky and messy and destructive situation for many, many people. And I need to know if I need to prepare for that or not. Of course, I defer to your authority above all, Holy Ones, but I just want to know what I am going to be deferring on.
Okay, Zin's just gonna go like, you needn't worry. It's all in the past. Doesn't matter anymore. All we care about now is a sealing ceremony.
Just going to breathe a little bit. Good. I'm glad to hear that. As always, the Azamar's known patience and magnanimous nature pulls through. I'm glad to hear it. Praise be the angels. He says, seemingly genuinely. He then says, yes, and now to the important thing. Thank you for bringing it up, Master Zin. The sealing ceremony. As okay, all right, let's calm down there, kiddo.
I feel like that's something Lear would say. Calm down there, kiddo.
Hypatius is going to say that now, normally, it is generally seen as below an Azamar station to guard directly at the sealing ceremony. But given the recent attacks by, I believe, the Minervans, as the report specified, the mutants, and the threat of war, New Xanter has left part of its best garrison to go with the High Alchemist, the President, to go to the summit at the Flower Isle. So we are a bit short-staffed, unfortunately, and a bit undermanned based on what the reports we got from the Paladins in Ravonia. So I understand that it is a bit below your station, but please, as the High Patriarch of the flock here in Tempelon, and specifically New Xanter, I plead with you both to forego any sort of formalities to help us in this time of need.
Sure. I mean, already done it once before. Don't see why. Can't do it again. It is my duty to protect the good people of the.
Roll me perception and roll me religion. Too.
Oh god. I don't trust this guy. I feel like I don't trust any of these stupid fucking high priests. Only Lear. I can only trust Lear and my fellow Asimars anymore. My people. I literally am scarred from Luce. I don't trust this dude. No shoot. Let me pull up my. What'd you say?
Perception and religion.
So 2 different rolls?
Yes.
Okay. Um. $16 and 4.
I'll
I
let
got
you choose.
16 for religion, 4 for perception. I feel like
alright.
I want to be more perceptive, but I mean,
It's okay.
I could choose. I could choose higher perception. I don't know. I don't know. I'm scared.
You just notice Lear shifts a bit for your perception, but he also says, "We'll fulfill our duty here. That's why we race back." And then for religion, you can kind of tell that Hypatius is understating the fact that Asmars don't participate in sealing ceremonies. There's actually not that many that seals that the church takes care of in the world, because it's generally taken over by governments.
Yeah.
They have 2, and maybe a third depending on the year that you're looking at in history. But there's one on the islands that they take care of, and then there's this one in Tempelon that they've taken over for the state as kind of an agreement. So it's not a big deal, but Asmars typically have no interaction with the sealing ceremony, and it's not exactly like, it's not even that it's considered below their station. That's something you've heard before, but it's almost like there's been a soft exclusion of Asmars from sealing ceremonies. That they're almost never present there. But there's nothing outright saying they can't be. Just you can't really recall. You were never taught much about sealing ceremonies. You were never taught about them ever being part of one. There's no epic story of that. And there have been assaults on sealing ceremonies, so it kind of makes sense that you would want an Azamar nearby, depending on how dangerous it is. But there have been plenty of years of peace where nobody's fucked with it. So it's kind of a toss-up.
Interesting. Is it dangerous? But I don't need. I'm awesome. That's what I'm just thinking to myself. Or that might be what Zin might be thinking.
So I was just thinking, I'm awesome.
I'm awesome.
No relation
I'm
to
awesome
D&D
as in
at all.
Zin's awesome, but
If you're not, if you, as you think about that, Hypatius will say, well, that's been settled. We have some rooms set aside for you here in the cathedral. Please feel free to use them whenever. And if you need anything, I shall be up late signing some documents in relation to the ceremony. And now that you two have agreed to it, we can actually begin the ceremony immediately tomorrow morning. It would be best, given that you two are here and need to be gone soon, I believe, given all the danger in the world. I am sure you'll be called away post haste. Given that, I want to speed up the process of it with the lack of ceremony and all, but I think it's the safe thing to do.
that's it. That was why you called us in here?
Well, yes. I needed to debrief you as per the guidelines on Azamar dispatching, and I wanted to make sure that it was all right with you two, that you were participating in the defense.
Interesting. I've never heard of that
Are you saying that out loud?
Oh, you know, wait, is that a thing? Like, I mean, like, wait a second. Is that like me being? Is that going to be me being stupid or me being like, huh?
I don't know. Are you saying that, like, are you trying to be passive aggressive? Are you trying to be like, is Zen being genuinely like, oh, I've never heard of an Asmar taking part in the defense? Like, you need to tell me how you're saying it exactly, and I'll let you know if you're being stupid or not. Kind of.
I was thinking a little bit of both. More like, oh, I've just never. He's more just kind of thinking like, oh, yeah, I guess it's like his thought process is, yeah, I guess this is already like, why did we have to talk about this? I thought this was already like decided. Like my job here is to protect and stop any demonic influence, stop any like bad things from happening in like a sealing ceremony or whatnot. So he's kind of confused why there was all this weird formal meeting to say very little. You know? So it's both a genuine confusion and a little bit of a questioning thing. So I don't know if that counts to be like it's in the middle of that.
Hypatius will actually just smile and be like, oh, Your Holiness, your kindness shines through. I can tell that you truly wish to help the people. Normally, these rabble would not be worthy of your attention, which, if you're going to ask someone as such as yourself to help, I mean, it only makes sense that we would go through the proper channels and show you your due respect when requesting it.
So
Lear is going to be like,
yeah, I want to like talk to Lear after this. I think Zin's going to like. I mean, he did have a bad perception, but I feel like partly
Lear's
he's going to
going
be
to
like,
get
oh.
up too and start walking out, and he's going to just gruffly say,
Zin's going to. Honestly, he's just going to follow suit. He's going to follow after Lear.
So you guys are out in the hall. You walk down a bit. I'm guessing are you going to ask him something?
Yes, I'm going to see how I want to. Okay, I want to be kind of like. I know I rolled badly, but I want to be like. Is there something on your mind? You seemed a little uneasy at times back there.
Lear's
I don't know. I mean, maybe you're always like that. You know.
Lear's going to turn a bit, and he's going to say, well, we actually did get a request from the Asmar. I guess. Well, how would you want to name this? I'll ask you, Self. I would want to come up with a better name than, or I guess the Asmar Order will say. The Asmar Order has
the Order of the
requested
Asmars?
the Order of the Asmars. Yes.
Yeah, they're called the. Yeah, they call it the Order of the Asmars, I believe, and then it's like, let me pull it up. And I think they're called the actual group of Asmars are called the Apostles.
Okay. The Order of the Asmars has recalled us actually immediately, but I've elected to finish the job first. I'm not going to leave this country with a bad taste in my mouth. So, yes, I was.
Sorry, you go.
No, you go ahead.
Wait, they called us back. But how did? I guess. Would he know that? Or did he just guess really right? Or did they tell him
Wait, would he know what?
that we were being recalled back?
Yeah, he said I received a communication.
No, not Lear. I meant Hypatius.
Oh, uh, depends. He might, but honestly, there's plenty of there's high probability that he doesn't know, considering the Order of the Aasimars is also somewhat of an independent
Yeah.
outside of the normal rank and structure. But
Didn't Hypatius kind of guess that we had to get going? Or was he just more like, "Oh, I know you guys are super busy." I don't know.
well, it's again, it's kind of hard to tell. I mean, it's there's a lot of politicking at the higher levels of the church. So anybody who makes it as high as he has, knows how to say a lot without saying much. If that makes sense. So he for all, if you were better at reading people, you could probably maybe try and figure out what he was about. But he's the equivalent of like a high politician. Like he's really knows how to do this. So he can probably guess a lot of the stuff, but maybe he knew what you guys were about, and he got a confirmation as well, and is also defying orders. It's hard to tell.
Yeah. My point was more to okay.
So you want to ask Lear that?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to say at first, but
Lear's going to say, with these old church bastards, it's impossible to tell. We can check it out if you want to really find out. We can go and look at the dispatches from the emissaries on the island, but we don't know for right now. At the very least, he didn't order us to do anything, so he's not on the books as having requested us, and he's would have let us go if we had asked. So I'm making this decision for myself. What are you going to do?
Going to defend the sealing ceremony. Of course I'm going to stay here. But then I guess we have to return later, don't we? After tomorrow?
Well, we'll have to figure out something. I'll see if we can get any more info from the dispatches, but we're probably going to be recalled to the summit on the Flower Isle.
Interesting. I want to say more. There's something I feel like.
Lear's going to see that your mind is kind of like running through a lot, and he's going to put his hand on your shoulder, and he's going to say, "Enough. You've thought a lot, you've fought a lot, and it's been a long and difficult journey. I know that you have been itching to probably get some more combat practice in, so if I remember correctly, somebody's waiting for you at the pit."
Zin kind of forgot for a second, and he like kind of finds. He's like, "Oh, you're right. You're right. I just something about I don't know, like after what happened with Luce, like realize I always feel a little uneasy around
It's hard to trust mortal
and-
humans, or mortal men, I should say, mortals of any nature, really. Many of them scheme and posture with what little they've been given in life, even when they've been given grace by the angels to serve in the church. But it is not worth our time to muse on the mulings of such men. I think it's better to spend your time when you can doing what will get closer to the divinity that we're given, and not ruminate on it so much.
Yeah.
Just go enjoy what you can while you can, and we'll take care of it. Whatever happens, whatever they can throw at us, we Aasimars can take it.
Yeah, we can't. Oh, sorry to say it like that, but Zin's gonna be like, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, he knows. Obviously, he thinks he's like the strongest ever, and to him, the Aasimars going up like they're even stronger than him, and that's crazy to him. So to him, Aasimars the coolest. They could defeat the entire world in his mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has no doubt that this is gonna be a breeze.
So with that, I guess Sin is going to run off with his late date with Cyril. Blair's going to shake his head and he's going to like, how did that guy ever get a boyfriend? Not really, but
So you can say it.
maybe we'll say that's we'll say that's lost lore.
Lost lore, something. It's speculation. That's what
It's
Lear thinks.
speculative, Your Honor.
He's-
Speculation. And we're going to end there for the night. I wanted to get these two conversations out of the way, just so we could get to the more exciting stuff tomorrow, or not tomorrow.
Hey,
Next
tomorrow. Hey.
No, we should take a break. I need to take a break. This is too much planning. Although I mean, maybe if Ev and Jens were free, maybe just so in case next week is fucked. But I think Braden said that he has a free schedule, so we should be good as long as what's it called? Reese is good. We should be fine. Also, let me get rid of Craig.
Bye, Craig.
Where is Craig?
Bye, Craig.
Stop recording.
Bye.
Oh.